In this video, touchscreens, where we're going, they already have touchscreens. System monitor, look at that. Everything is A-OK. And nothing.
Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved the look of the Oldsmobile Toronado, especially first and fourth generation cars. Fourth generation cars are my personal favorite. They've got that old school look and feel, but when you get on the inside, they're full of all this retro futuristic tech. So when a buddy of mine had another one for sale, there was no way I was passing it up.
What you see here is the beating heart of the 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado that belongs to my friend Justin Prince. He happens to have a YouTube channel as well, Redline0442. Go check him out. I'll put a link in the description. He just rebuilt this completely. 425 with a 455 rotating assembly. Rebuilt the transmission. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And he has a matching last generation Toronado right there. That's his 1991 Oldsmobile Toronado Trofeo. Almost same color, as close as you can get. And he's decided to part ways with it. So when he called me, telling me that he was looking to sell it, I couldn't resist myself. And here he is. So Justin, tell us a little bit about how your love for Toronado started.
Well, it started 5 or so years ago when I first got the triple black Oldsmobile Toronado Trofeo from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And didn't know a lot about cars then. Still don't know now.
Stop being so humble.
Well, ended up putting up some videos on YouTube onto the channel. He just said Redline, and didn't really know where to go with it. Couldn't find parts, and then Mo showed me or commented on the video that he actually had a Trofeo that he was willing to part out and help me, and it kind of just all spiraled out of control from there.
Out of control being a correct description.
And now 23 cars later, the car that Mo is buying from me today is the last one that I own, and it's probably one of my favorites out of all of them. And I know he'll take good care of the car.
Thank you very much for the kind words. Well, it's not the last one you have. You still have this guy. I mean, look at the side. I swear to God, this car should be in black because it looks like the Batmobile, doesn't it?
I can see it. There's actually a guy that has one that's done up as the Batmobile, and it's got all
the red pinstriping. Yeah, I've seen that car online before.
It's cool.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and take care of some paperwork. And yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to own such a lovely car.
Hey, and thanks for starting it all.
You're welcome, my friend.
While in great shape overall, it does need a little TLC. Someone with a weed whacker hit some gravel that put all those dents on that quarter panel there. Has a little bit of faded paint on that rear bumper. The wheels are a little faded and could use some refinishing. The interior needs a good detail. The sway bar links are making some noise, and the passenger mirror clear coat has faded. But other than that, it's a very solid car overall.
I will say, though, this is definitely one of the coolest cars to come out of the 80s and 90s. It's got that old school feel and look and drive. You know, it kind of floats. But then at the same time, it's got a lot of tech, futuristic stuff. You've got your touchscreen, your information center, all these different buttons and switches everywhere. I mean, look at. You've got the touchscreen, you've got buttons on the right, you got buttons on the left, you got buttons on the door, you got buttons on the console. You got buttons on the other door. You got buttons everywhere. Buttons, buttons, buttons. You get a personalized welcome message. There it goes. That you can program. And let's go through things. So you got your status. That's this screen right here. You go to info. You got oil life, engine data, your options, system monitor. Everything is A-OK. Your navigation, which is really a compass. Date and time. You have a calendar. You can set an event. Your trip computer will tell you everything that you got going on. I mean, this is stuff you barely find in cars in 2022. Your radio controls here. Your climate controls here. Let's see what else we can do for VIC options. System tone, brightness, message demo. And then you can also go into your diagnostics through here. Another button for the system monitor. You can switch between miles and kilometers. So it has 122,655.4 miles. And then in kilometers, that's 197,394.9. You also have a trip here as well. I mean, there's just so many different things. It's so cool. You know, you've got your buttons on the steering wheel, your fan, temperature control, volume, your radio seek, your horn buttons. I mean, seats that are just, you know, very comfortable, all different kinds of adjustments. You got your lumbar and all these different, bolsters and whatnot that inflate. Single cup holder, that's all you get. Nothing for the passenger, just the driver. Of course, old school ashtray and an actual cigarette lighter. This car came with cassette. You could get it with CD as well. Your twilight settings here for the sensor. You have there for the auto dimmer and whatnot. Map lights. Proper mirror. Different settings on the light. Just a lot of stuff you don't see anymore. Your automatic lights, the Twilight Centennial, and how long you want them to stay on after you leave the car. It's exactly what you saw in the movies in the 80s and 90s, what the future would look like. It's exactly what it is.
The next day, when I went to start working on the car, the rearview mirror had fallen, so I went ahead and got a glue kit and reattached it to the windshield. After that, pulled it in the garage and started pulling some dents.
These two dents here, I can try to access from inside. I already started on this one. It's come out a little bit, but it's a pretty nasty hit. And then I can touch that up. Same with this. This is the big one here. This thing was the size of my fist almost. So I have one of these dent pullers that you use the hot glue with. And I tried the smaller one because it's an oval shaped kind of dent, but that didn't work. So I'm using the bigger one now and just easing off every so often, letting it rest. And then starting to pull it back out slowly. You can see it's come out significantly, but just ever so slowly. I don't want the hot glue to come off just yet. So it's really tight and it's pulling. And if I can catch this, you can see when I relieve the tension, you see how much more the metal goes in. You can see it sinking. Not as much as it was, so that's a good sign. So we can gently crank it up a little bit. So much for being gentle. And let's see how much of it we can get off without having to clean it because this stuff is a mess to clean up. Oh wow, okay, all right, so we can see it's pulled it in the center, but we still have on either side. So we'll work more here and work more there. We'll just kind of go around in a circle, keep pulling on it, and if it comes out too much we can always gently ding it back in.
Between the freezing cold weather, other commitments, work, and projects, I was unable to continue work on the Toronado for a while.
So, a friend of the gentleman who I bought this car from, the Toronado, reached out to me and said he wanted to buy it from me. So he told me sometime in May of 2022. I figured, okay, I've got some time. It was earlier in the year. When the weather got better, I took it, put some gas in it. I've been driving it to work for a couple of weeks now, and then he reaches out and tells me that he's ready to come get it now, and it's April. So I figure, okay, I mean, he can have it. So Saturday, April 9th, I decide to go ahead and drive it one last time and go ahead and, finish the film that I've been trying to make ever since I bought it. And this happens. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the key in the ignition. Turn it. All right, everything comes on. And nothing. Nothing. So I went ahead and took things apart. You have to remove the glove box. There's some relays all the way up in that corner there. Swapped them out. Nothing. I'm getting power to the 3 amp fuse there in the corner when I hit the ignition, which means I've got power going there. But there's a clicking sound coming from behind the dashboard. And according to the schematics, there is an enabler relay that's behind the dashboard here. If I'm not mistaken, the manual recommends you pull the dash for a relay. For one frickin' relay, they want me to pull the dash. So the goal is the guy who's coming, who wants to buy it, he's coming with a friend of his who's technically inclined. And we're going to go ahead and remove these panels here. This one and the one behind it, and try and see if we can get up in there, unplug it, plug in a new relay, and get it running. But I mean, that just goes to show you Murphy's Law. Take care. Another one gone. After an hour and a half of taking it apart, thinking it was the starter relay, which is hidden behind the dash, it just needed a jump. As always, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.